Yeah, just looking at maintaining a Fleischmann turntable, and to remove the bridge for doing maintenance on contacts, etc. Or you want to get access to the motor brushes, all that sort of stuff. You've got to remove 6 sections of the outer turntable which line up with the bridge rollers which are there. That's 1 roller, 2 roller, and then the track entrance or exit, so that's 3. And then at the opposite end you have to remove this one where there's a roller wheel, the one where the track is, and the other roller wheel which is there. You just mark up them, move the bridge out of the way, mark them up, and then take those sections out. Then remove the circlip, remove the maintenance hatch in the middle, remove the circlip, and then it should lift out. So I'm just going to try that. Yeah, so to make it easy, I've just put a couple of bit of marker pieces of tape just to mark up there and there. So I want to turn this around 45 degrees or whatever. I can then take out these sections with the little compressed piece there. You've got to press down, so you've got to move the turntable out the way and take out these sections and the track sections, 6 sections in total, and then take the circlip out and the bridge should lift out. So have a go. Yeah, so to lift these sections out, you just push inwards on this lug here. You push inwards and it just pulls up like that and pulls out, and that's how you add and remove sections of track. And they just, like I say, when you come to put them back in, you just clip them in, push them down and lock into place. So that's how you change and move around the exits, etc. So when you want to add extra areas, you take these bits out and put them back in the box, put the new pieces in, whichever ones you're going to add. Yeah, so I've took the pieces out, so what you do then is line the bridge back up. Yeah, so when you get it back into this position again, which it was previously lined up into, you might have to help it along if it gets caught up, to move along where the sections have been taken out. So now it can be lifted out, no problem, because where the wheel sections are, you've got access for the bridge to be lifted out, as you can see while looking there. So the bridge section can be lifted now. So next step is to take off a circlip, which you've got to be careful with that. Yeah, to get a circlip off, it's basically just a really small flat headed screwdriver just to get in on. There's a notch on the circlip where you can just force the circlip off, like you can see it, and then it just pops off. Yeah, you can see this is how the turntable moves around. It's a big cog here that connects to the underside of the pieces, line up, and it turns and moves itself along on these outer edges via that big cog which is connected to other gearing to the motor. And there's 4 contacts, 2 on either side. If they get dirty they need cleaning, but they should stay pretty clean. So I think that should be a low maintenance item, but you've got to be careful not to damage these, quite delicate. And they hook up to the underside of the track piece, the metal parts there. Yeah, when you take the circlip off, you just got to put them somewhere safe. Just put them there for now, and then you've got a metal spacer. You've got to make sure that is put back the correct way. There's 2 different ways that piece of metal can go. You've got to make sure it sits with this sort of spring-loaded tension going upwards on that spacer, and then you line up the turntable to the exits, etc., where the wheel sections are, and then it should just lift out like that, and then you get access to the underside and the motor and the contacts. And I'll just have a closer look at that now. You can see the wheel arrangement There's 8 in total, 8 sets of wheels on this bridge. And you can see there's 5 contacts there and the motor. Easy access to the motor to remove. So it's all very well made. The main 2 contacts at either end of the bridge, got to be careful not to damage those contacts there. So basically it's just a case of maybe oiling the wheels if you wanted to put a bit of light oil. Shouldn't really need it really. And cleaning these contacts here. That's the maintenance for it on heavy use. Maybe if you wanted to change the brushes on the motor, oil any gears, etc., you could do. And the other area is the centre of the bridge. If that gets clogged up with oil or dirt, it's just a case of cleaning that as well. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward really to get on and off. And it's actually going to be pretty straightforward. If you wanted to fit a decoder in this, you could do put a standard loco decoder in this by doing the modification on the wiring and put the chip inside the bridge and put a light in there as well. That's another modification you can do. All in all, that's come off quite nicely. You've just got to be careful where you're placing it and not to, because it is very delicate. Yeah, so I'm just going to add a drop of oil on each of these wheels, on the axles. Probably doesn't need it, but I mean, this has never been used, it's brand new. I might put a tiny drop of oil on the gearing, and that's it, that's all I'm going to do. If you pop off the other 2 maintenance hatches on the top side, you can see the gearing where you can oil as well, without taking the bridge off. You get a better idea of where the gearing is, etc. You've got to be careful not to drop any oil in places you don't want it. Very sparingly on the gearing. Yeah, and I wouldn't oil any other parts on the mechanism, only where it says in the instructions. I mean, I've done the wheels, but just to make them not squeak, basically. And I thought, yeah, a bit of oil on there won't do any harm on the 8 axles. But yeah, just the 2 oiling sections where it says on the instructions, which are there. 1 drop of oil, that's all that's required. Right, I'm happy. I've put 1 tiny amount of oil where it indicated it in the instructions. So all I'm doing, because it's a brand new motor, everything's new on this, so I'm not touching anything else. If it is a well-used turntable, you probably have to clean these 5 contacts here in the centre, and maybe clean these contacts here if they're dirty. But other than that, if they're not dirty, leave them as they are, don't mess with them. And then obviously the other part is, which I mentioned on the turntable, is to clean the centre 5 rings of steel there, which will need cleaning if they're dirty. So let's put it back together now. Yeah, so we just put it back to the reverse to how I took it off. So just line up the bridge, wheel 1, 2, 3 and 4 to the exit outer areas of the bridge, and then exit and entrance area, line them up, and it should just nicely slot in. Let's line the centre up. There we go, just being very careful. That's it. That is now lined up correctly. Slight spring load on the bottom with the rings of steel that are underneath. That's it. You basically just put the circlip back the correct way. It's like there's a raised area that goes upwards like that, and then the clip goes on. All tricky stuff. There's only one way the circlip can go. Very small that, so stick that on. I'll just put that on now. Might need a certain plier to put that back on with, like a flat edged nosed pliers like that, something like that. That'd be ideal for that. And then it's just a matter of helping the turntable line back the other way, and then putting all the other pieces back on. When you're putting circlets back, you need quality tools. You don't need any rubbish tools. Like this is a rubbish tool. The ends of the pliers don't line up properly. Absolutely hopelessly rubbish. Alright for general bits and bobs on layouts, but for precision stuff like this you need pliers that line up, the heads line up perfectly. Or circlip pliers, which I have got, but I'm going to have to dig them out. And these pliers are like 20 odd years old and they're hammered, but see the ends of them are perfectly lined up. Well, that's what you need for locating the clip back on. I've got it on partially, so now I'm just going to line it up and bring it together, these special pliers now. I'll just hold it perfectly. There we go, and that's it. The tools make a big difference. If you get cheap tools, it just makes the job near impossible. I mean, these are snap-on pliers made in America. And I love snap-on tools, they're fantastic. I've always bought them. They're a lot of money, but fantastic tools. And this particular tools, well, it's made in Germany. That explains. Yeah, very good. So I can put it back now, which means I'll just power it up and help it go back, and that'll be it. Yeah, so I'm just moving it back now. You may have to help it move along at certain points. Right there, it's stuck, so I'll just give it a gentle nudge. There we go. That's it, that's all it needs. And move it around to the next area there. And then it's just a case of putting back the correct items again. There we go, there's one. There's the exit. That blanking plate back on. And the other ones. It's all tricky stuff this, you can't rush it and mess it, you just got to get it right. Take your time. Just put that back in there. That's it, and then it'll spin nicely. It's all been oiled and etc. So I'll just pop these plates back in carefully, not to put too much pressure on. Yeah, just one word of warning, because I fired up the motor when I was putting it back accidentally, it misaligned. It is only lining up halfway, so that meant taking it off again, the exits, and just operating the motor again out of the pieces of entrances and exits, and then basically just lining it up, relining the motor again. So yeah, it's absolutely crucial that you get the entrance track put back in the correct order and the rest of the pieces. So it's well advisable to take a picture before you dismantle the table if you are doing the maintenance on it. This entrance and the opposite side entrance track are crucial, and all the rest as well. Otherwise it can be really complex to put back together again, because there's 48 exits on this.